I got to say, I jumped in. I caught the last 4 or 5 minutes of that conversation. Right. Really interesting conversation, and I'm on board with you guys, man. We're seeing a lot of amazing talent that can do a lot of amazing things in the ring, and I don't give a about any of them.
It really is.
Right, because they have no character development. You can't invest in somebody you don't have a bond with. Like when you're watching, The Sopranos, you have a bond with Tony Soprano. When you're watching, you know what I'm saying? There's nobody to really bond with because everything's so quick. It's ADD, HD writing.
No, listen, I love talking about this stuff, but sometimes I find myself sounding like I'm trying to pat myself on the back, but we've all had these discussions at varying degrees and levels over the last couple of years, but we've gotten to the point now where everything is like, there's no story. You don't have any character development. If you don't have any character development, that means you really don't have any story, which means all you really have is a gymnastics exhibition.
Right.
And I don't think that's why people really, don't get me wrong. Some of that is okay. Some of that is great. A little bit of that is awesome. But don't give me a solid hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours of it. It's just,
right. And here's the thing, bro. I don't, for the millennials that always say, we were just talking to Vince Russo about this, that they're like, oh, well, they're bitter. They're trying to be relevant. It's like, bro, there is no substitute for experience. Okay. Everything wasn't better in our day, but I can tell you a lot of things that were. Do you want to listen and make your product better? Or do you want to be dense and think that you know it all when you don't? You know what I'm saying? And that's what separates people that are successful from people that aren't. People that are successful listen to people that are more successful than them, and they learn from them. They don't minimize us by going, oh, look at these guys. They're trying to, you had your day in the sun. Why are you ruining mine? Listen, we're trying to teach you.
Bro, this is the problem. Is like we've seen with the growth of social media, and you see it in politics, happens in wrestling, stuff. Bro, everything in these sites, the algorithms are designed to create division, create two sides.
That's a proven fact.
And it's just like, it's funny too. I tweet out that the people that attack me have like very little followers and no profile pictures, and I get attacked for tweeting that by people with no profile pictures and no followers. And like, guys, don't you see what's going on here? It's like,
Disco. I think somebody should attack you for two things. Number one, 90% of this country is freezing right now. Like it's 27 below zero here without the windshield. No, listen to me now. And it's 44 degrees below zero with the wind chill. And guess what? This isn't the worst part of the country. And here you are in a wife beater scratching your armpit. Where are you? And why should we listen to a word you have to say?
I tell people, this thing how climate change is always like on every scene. It's funny too. I saw somebody tweeted at you because we're climate change. This thing people are asking, like, you're tweeting about the cold. It's 44 degrees below zero, and then somebody's tweeting you going, "Are you okay?" It's like, yeah, this is a winter in Wyoming. What do you think? It's like, this is where we live. It's like it's cold during the winter.
Not only that, I said when I saw that tweet, it's like when somebody said, "Are you okay?" I said, "No, man, this is." I actually said, PFFFT.
Yeah.
It keeps the riffraff out of the neighborhood. Right. If you're don't come here.
Yeah. I tell people, like, if you think climate change is bad, just come to Vegas. The rest of the country's freezing, and I'm wearing a white beater. Sitting here, it's like 51 degrees outside. It's like,
are you in Vegas?
Yeah, I'm in Vegas. Yeah.
Are you?
No, of course not. No. Hey, Eric, I got a question. What wild game do you have in your freezer right now?
I'm down to just whitetail deer. I thought I was 99% sure I was going to get an elk this fall, but my travel schedule and everything else didn't coordinate with the opportunity, and I didn't get an elk. So it's going to be a lean year for wild game. But I do have about 25 or 30 pounds of whitetail deer left over from last year.
Oh, nice.
Because
how do you cook it? Let me ask you a question. How do you cook that?
It depends. Like the ground beef, I found this really cool. You guys are going to kick out of this. Maybe. I don't know. We're talking about food. It's like the fucking wrestling food channel here. But I took some I took 2 pounds of ground venison. Now, there's no fat in venison. It's like super, super lean, which is cool and it's healthy, but it's sometimes hard to cook. So I wanted to make a meatloaf, and I wanted it to have a little bit of a, I want to say not a Mexican flavor, but just a little bit of flavor. And I like certain flavor, like green chili and just certain things that are, to me, are like salt and pepper to most people. Like I eat jalapenos on my eggs every morning. Like some people would use salt and pepper, right? It's just my thing. Anyway, I bought some balsamic vinegar, some smoke flavored balsamic vinegar, and some green chili oil, virgin olive oil infused. And I somehow mixed them up. Long story short, I poured too much of the balsamic, the smoked balsamic, into the venison. And I thought, I ruined it. But I cooked it anyway, made it into a meatloaf. And it was so good. It was so good. I put it on the smoker and smoked it for about an hour and a half. And then I just finished it off on the oven. It was just freaking awesome. My steaks, I tend to put them on the, I put them on my Rectech generally, or sometimes, depending on the time of year, on my Big Green Egg. And I do a reverse sear on the steaks. Because I like them really medium rare. Since Wild Game,
I saw this thing, a video that you had. I don't know if it was Instagram or what, where you were like cutting the steak. I don't know if it was buffalo or what it was, but you were cutting it, and it was just a pretty color and tender.
That's so much fun, man. I dig that. That I don't get to be creative anymore. Like I'm not involved in anything that requires creativity.
So you like to get creative with your food?
I do. I love because I love to eat. I love to eat healthy food, even though it's not like
Disco cooks a lot too, and a lot of healthy food. That's why I asked you.
I reverse sear all my meat. Like I vary my temperature times, experimenting roasting them in the oven before I put them on the cast iron skillet for the sear. And I've gone to like the one I find that works best is like for like I do a lot of Wagyu tri-tip. A lot of elk tenderloin and stuff. 400 degrees for 12 minutes, and then a minute sear in hot butter in a very hot, super hot cast iron skillet for like 45 seconds to a minute on each side, and let it sit for 5 minutes. And it like how Joe Rogan, when he cuts his meat, it looks all red. That's how you do it for
fun
for the meats I do. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, right? When
it is fun. It's fun to experiment.
Yeah, when you cut it and look at it, you're like, "Wow, I did it!" It's like that's like the enjoyment out of it. So, and then
to be truthful, I have up a full of money worth of steak trying to get good at it. right. Like I've gone out and bought $120 worth of steaks for friends and family that are coming over for dinner, and then I'm out there, I'm like strutting my stuff, and I'm like Mr. Know-It-All cook. Yeah, and I bring it in, and I cut it open, and everybody looks at me and goes, "Oh."
Right. So I want a medium rare, not medium well. Right. Hey, what's going on? Let me ask you a question. I saw you're beefing with Flair a little bit on Twitter. What's going on with that?
I don't know, man. First of all, let me just say this. Let me read this disclaimer.
Right.
First of all, I have nothing but love and respect for Rick, and I mean that. I'm not 100% sure why, but I do. And I guess part of the reason why is I kind of know Rick a little bit, and I'm just not going to stop having affection for Rick, and I'm not going to stop having respect for Rick, but I am going to stop responding to Rick on social media. As for how it started, I don't know 100%. I haven't talked to Rick about it, but I think what happened is that somehow Rick saw a clip of something that I've said on his documentary that's coming out from WWE. And I think I know what it was. It was something to the effect, because the producers asked me, you know how this is when people are interviewing you? It's like, tell me about that story when you and Ric Flair were in a lawsuit, and it was in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and it was on CNN. And,
Bro, let me tell people this, that people don't know this.
No.
When they interview you, so they know. And they probably already know, but
no, they knew.
No. But this is for the listeners.
You mean the listeners?
When they interview somebody like Eric or me or Disco for these documentaries, it's like a 3 to 5 hour interview. Okay. And they just take out like 5-second sound bites and whatever, usually the most controversial. And sometimes it's taken out of context. I'm not saying that to defend you, but it's happened to all of us. All of us.
And honestly, Konnan, I think that's why I'm not angry. That's why my feelings aren't hurt.
Right.
That's why I'm not, I got no over this. It's cool, whatever. But initially,
so what was the comment that you made?
Initially I fired back because I thought, he probably just, we're just having fun back and forth.
Because I haven't read this. Disco and Joe told me about it, but I haven't read it.
Yeah. Well, mine started out, I made some smart ass comment back that was a comment that I knew was a comment when I made it. And I made it because I thought people would have fun with it.
Right.
And then Rick fired back and it got more intense and it got more intense. And I went, wait a minute, this guy thinks this is real and I don't. Right. I'm out,
Right.
And I did an interview that I think is going to air this week, Chris Van Fleet in Vegas, which is why I was there. And I said, man, I'm done. I'm not going to say anything negative. He can say whatever he wants.
Right.
If Rick wants to get together face to face, if he wants to fight it out, hug it out, drink it out, I don't care. I'm in, whatever.
Right.
I really don't care because nothing's going to change for me whenever that's over, however it goes.
Right.
But right now I'm just, man, it's Christmas time.
It is. Yeah. It is.
Hey, did you guys see that video clip of that that was giving those two guys a really hard time at the New England's game?
Yeah, did you hear Robert
Kraft? I did see that. Wow.
I just saw that. Well, I'm sitting here going, and Robert Kraft found the two guys and just stood there and looked at that silly broad and just ignored her like the piece of she is. And Robert Kraft invited them to the next game for just being civilized. That was awesome.
Good. That's good.
Yeah. Robert Kraft seems like a cool guy, just the way he acts and dresses and hangs out with young girls. What?
Whatever. But did you guys? I know a couple of you guys saw that. Konnan, did you?
Yeah,
see that?
absolutely. Well, if it's Vegas, I follow the team and stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Let me ask you a question. Where are you spending Christmas, and who are you spending it with, Eric?
Well, that's a good question. I went to the airport yesterday at 7 a.m. and found out that my flights were canceled for the day.
Right.
And that the next available flight wasn't until Saturday morning.
Where are you going?
Well, I was going to go to Tampa.
Right.
Because that's where my wife and my son and my daughter-in-law and my daughter and my grandson are. But there's only about a 25% chance I'm going to get out of here. So it may be me and my dog, Nikki, for Christmas.
Wow. Well,
which is kind of cool because it'll be the first time in 67 years I've ever spent Christmas alone. So I'm kind of anxious to see what that's like.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like you're experiencing something that's you've never done before, but I know, plans change, right? I guess is the quote.
Bro,
there,
some good cooking, dude. A good steak, a good movie, some wine, a little bit of the Iranian tobacco.
I've got. I'm good there.
Yeah.
And I actually went to the grocery store today because we were finally able to get out today. I was, and yesterday we couldn't get out at all. Nothing was open. But I went. I got some ingredients for seafood paella. So I may do.
Oh, that's a great dish.
I may do seafood
dish,
and I'm just going to do just enough for me. Not a lot, but
I love that yellow rice.
I got some scallops and rice and all the other ingredients and some clams.
Now that sounds nice.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you a question before we get out of here. Since you brought up, I have that. How long have you been smoking?
That's nice.
Well, I mean, look, I tried weed when I was 15. So what is that? 52 years ago.
Wow. I wish we would have smoked some weed in WCW. Probably would have gotten along better.
You know what, though, Konnan? I want to say this, but I knew we were going to do this, which I got about a 12-minute heads up. So thank you very much, guys.
That was awesome. It was awesome. Thanks for coming on. Thank you for coming on.
That's how we roll.
But I was thinking, because when Joe reached out to me, he goes, hey, we should jump on. And I was thinking maybe tomorrow or the next day or whatever. He goes, no, 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Right.
I said, yeah, I'll be there, whatever. And I'm thinking, Konnan's the only guy that I would probably do this for.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
It's really kind of interesting because, Konnan, you and I have come from two almost polar opposite cultures.
Right.
And we came up probably in some ways the same socioeconomically and whatever. but we both kind of found our own paths. We ended up meeting in WCW, but you're on the talent side of the equation, and I'm on the office side of the equation. What are the odds that two people like us, or at least in my case, one person like me, would look so forward to doing something like this with you when we've come from such a weird opposite angle of attack?
Well, what I attribute it to is, number one, maturity. Both of us, you know, our friendship's more important than our ego, you know, and you know, as you get older, you start to value things in life like these type of friendships. Bro, it doesn't serve any purpose. Like you said with Flair, if he keeps knocking you down, you're not going to answer for what? It's wasted negative energy that accomplishes nothing. We need friends. We need love. There's enough hate in the world. You know, we've thrown hate out. We've received hate. If you ain't positive, bro, I don't want you around me, you know, and I just try to throw positive out there. You know what I'm saying?
Plus, too, I listen to a lot of Eric's clips, and I'm like, I like what Eric has to say. Let's get Eric on the show.
He loves having you on.
I'd like to talk with Eric. Yeah, because I like your stuff. You're very sharp.
Yeah, it's intelligent discourse, and we can disagree without insulting each other or breaking up our friendship, you know? And so that's really cool. It's, you know, just grown people talking, and whether they disagree or not, that doesn't matter, bro. We don't stop talking to each other because you're a Republican, I'm a Democrat, which I'm not. But you know what I'm saying? Political, social, nothing. It's just guys that like each other's company. We love having you on here. You're always an interesting, witty guest with something to say and entertaining. And you were our boss, and now we're friends.
It's a trip, brothers. Thank you guys very, very much. Merry Christmas to you guys, and I can't wait to do another show right after the first of the year.
All right, my friend. Hey, love you, man.
Let me just say, Konnan, real quick before Eric jumps off.
Yeah,
I read Eric's second book, Grateful, and I got to say it was phenomenal. It's up there with, you know, people. There's a lot of wrestling books, but like the really good ones is like JR, Foley, Jericho, Brett. Eric's second book is way up there on the list, dude. It's really good. It tells the wrestling stories, but he tells a lot of personal stories too, and it was excellent. So anyone that wants to grab it, go to Amazon or GuyEvansBooks.com to grab one.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that and have you sign it for me.
It's really, really good.
Brother. Thank you guys.
Merry Christmas, man.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
Appreciate it.
Merry Christmas, Eric. Thank you.
Yo, what up? This is Konnan, and I host Keeping It 100, my co-host, Disco Inferno, unfortunately.
Well, I'd say you're my co-host.
Listen, every Thursday here on Spreaker, we talk pro wrestling, sports, movies, music, TV, pop culture, and some politics. It's everything the rest of the pro wrestling podcasts are not.
Tune in to hear myself, the superior one, educate and inform.
Tune in to hear me bury Disco.
That's very disrespectful.
Join us every Thursday on Spreaker and keep it 100. Boom!